Welcome back to a new TV show spoiler review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. Today I am breaking down episode one of season two of the new DCU show, Peacemaker. We're going to break down the episode, mostly just my spoiler thoughts on the show. I did this all from season one, so I'm excited to be bringing back season two of coverage of Peacemaker. So welcome back, everyone, to a brand new video. I'm Max Dinnenberg. If you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie, TV show reviews, out-of-theater reactions, movie franchise rankings, and every Monday I break down the box office. So please subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. Are you excited that Peacemaker is back? Do you like this start more than we started off with season one? Or are you really confused by the retconning and forcing this into the DCU? Would love to hear all your thoughts on that down in the comments section down below. I respond to all comments, so let's have a fun, lively conversation about the things we all love, which is talking about movies or shows. And also, guys, please hit the thumbs up button down below. It's one of the best ways to help support myself. Helps me get seen by newer viewers. So please, it takes 2 seconds. Hit that thumbs up button. It's the like button here on YouTube. So I was definitely excited for season two of Peacemaker. I am someone who was a big fan of season one of Peacemaker. If you're not familiar with me, I'm a big wrestling fan. Never will be a big John Cena fan in the ring or anything like that. Wasn't a huge fan of a lot of his acting roles really until Peacemaker. This felt like kind of a match made in heaven for Cena playing this character in the Suicide Squad and then in the show. And then you had Danielle Brooks and Freddie Strowman. This was a great ensemble, Jennifer Holland and Steve Agee and the James Gunn of it, the fact that it's very raunchy, um, very inappropriate, as that something happened like that in this episode, which I'll get into. But I was really happy with season one. Now, I was very mixed on them bringing this show back because, again, James Gunn, he's now, when he did Peacemaker season one and when he directed the Suicide Squad, he was not running DC at the time. So he fit that into the DCEU. And when James Gunn took over DC Studios, I thought he was just going to completely reset things for DC, which I actually thought was the correct decision. But we learned that Peacemaker, one of the first announcements for James Gunn's new DC was that Peacemaker got renewed. And I was like, this is interesting because, again, at the very end of Peacemaker, you have Momoa as Aquaman and Ezra Miller's The Flash, and that era of Justice League showing up in the cameo. I was thinking to myself, I think and I still stand by this. I think James Gunn should have gotten rid of, in my opinion, everyone. If he was gonna do a full retcon, I would think he should have just given DC a much needed clean slate. And I'm someone who is a big fan of the Snyder era characters and actors and a lot of those films. And I was agreeing that I think it's time to put all these things to rest. Let's put a total reset on DC with Superman. But obviously, we had Creature Commandos earlier this year, where Frank Grillo's playing Rick Flag Sr., which is a continuation of a storyline from the Zack Snyder era, which is he's playing the father of Rick Flag Jr., who was in both Suicide Squad movies. So I was already feeling like this was going to be confusing. In the recap for this episode, they reshot the cameo. So instead of Justice League, it was Justice Gang at the end of the Peacemaker stuff. So they're officially in the DCU because I said again last time on the DCU. And I still think again does not deny my ability to enjoy the show or not. I still think Gunn should just clean slate and not just kept his characters in his universe. I think he should have just gotten everyone a fresh start and moved on. But again, I'm all here for Peacemaker season two. But I will say I am very mixed on this start to the show. The part that I really liked about the show, the one character arc that I enjoyed a lot in this episode was Chris, who is obviously Peacemaker, played by John Cena. Multiverses are getting very, very, very tired at this point. It feels like every comic book movie talks about a multiverse, sets things up for a multiverse movie, or deals with multiverse issues. And Peacemaker only alluded to the idea of the multiverse with the dimension that Chris and Augie were in season one. And I didn't know what they were gonna do again from a story perspective. I didn't really watch many trailers for the show. And this season is a lot about multiverse, which is, Chris goes into that dimension or whatever, and he sees that there's another door that's very similar to his. He opens it, it's a different universe with an altered version where his brother is alive, his father is alive. They seem to be all getting along and doing work together. It was a universe where he was dating hardcore. Now they're exes, but he was at least in love and they were in love together in this other universe. And I found this to be actually the perfect angle to have for a story for Peacemaker in season two. He is someone that he has shown has a hard time loving himself. He does have people who kind of back him up, as you see at the end of Peacemaker. A lot of them have kind of split off. He kind of only has a relationship with Adebayo at this point from that original crew. Him and I mean he had a incident, let's just say, with hardcore on that boat that they brought up, but they're still not the most tight friends or anything. He just was never loved by his father. His brother obviously died, and he just has a very hard time loving himself. And now he's going to another universe where he's loved not just by himself, but obviously by his father. And now his brother got to live a full life and they grew up together. He at least had a spark with hardcore in this universe. So I am all here for the stuff involving Chris so far in season one. My problem is it felt like the rest of the characters were back to exactly what they were doing at the beginning of Peacemaker in season one. Now you can say, Adebayo, she revealed all of Walter's kind of secrets at the end of the season. But it's weird that she wouldn't get promoted in any of these other divisions. Um, Makes sense that Adrian, Vigilante is still working for that restaurant, but you have Hardcore who's struggling, and we obviously know Economos, who was in Creature Commandos, is still working for Argus, who's run by again Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. I just feel like from a arc perspective, we're just kind of resetting all of the rest of the characters. Where Hardcore is the no does the whole bar scene, which he also had in the first or second episode of season one. Adebayo's really struggling now, even worse than she was in season one. I just didn't feel like there was a lot of. I feel like Chris's arc evolved even more in this first episode, and you can really see a good potential arc coming for his character. But Hardcore, it literally looks like the same exact person, except oh, she might have feelings for Chris. Other than that, she's exactly the same. Where if we took it from the first episode of season one and plopped her here, this is kind of what she would be doing. Um, Economos, that part did not make a lot of sense to me because I do think it was smart for Argus to have Economos like watching Chris, but not like the only person watching Chris and the only person reliable to sniff out anything bad he's doing. Because again, he's technically friends with him. And I know once he reported something to Argus, he's like, we need someone else there other than Economos. I was like, why not just have like two people watch Chris? One person can certainly be Economos. He's currently an expert on all things Peacemaker. But maybe send someone else. Like it honestly made zero sense why the government would just send Peacemaker's supposed close friend to be the one watching him in case something bad happens. And of course, and like when they think he's not going to report something if it's so bad or something like you know, Rick Flag Sr. is a pretty smart dude if you watch Creature Commandos and a tough dude. And I was like, he would really allow. I get his rage and wanting 24/7 surveillance for the guy who killed his son. That all makes perfect sense to me. I think that's actually a really interesting character arc that he's still someone who's a top tier part of the government, but he still needs to make sure. And one of his number one priority is if Chris Smith does something wrong, he wants to be there to solve that problem. But I just wouldn't send like again a team of Task Force X to be watching over him. It just did not make a lot of sense. Again, Adrian had one scene, which was, and the owl joke was not totally for me. Um, I like the scene with the Justice Gang interviewing John Cena because I do love Nathan Fillion as Guy Garner and I love Isabel Merced as Hawkgirl. Big fan of Isabel Merced. and we guess Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord. But all of that scene was in the trailer I watched. So none of that scene was funny to me because I've already seen that scene multiple times in trailers and stuff. So I was kind of like, I was shocked that it turned out that basically the whole scene was already showed basically in the trailer. So that scene didn't totally work for me. Again, it would have been hilarious if I've never seen that scene before. The scene that I did think was hilarious was when the the therapist or whatever was helping Harcourt. He was like, "You have toxic masculinity," and the quick cut by James Gunn to Jennifer Holland, and she's like, "Toxic masculinity." I had something else between my private parts. I thought that was a really funny scene. I thought that, again, it was enjoyable enough, but I loved season one of Peacemaker. And again, I think Chris and his arc is very interesting. You can say, well, that's what matters. He is the lead character. That's true, but this is a really is an ensemble show where you have Adebayo and Vigilante and Hardcore and Economos. Now we're adding in Frank, the Justice Gang for cameos. We're supposed to be, James Gunn did not show the last three episodes of the season due to spoilers. So it seems like there'd be a lot of cameos, possibly more cameos other than just Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner and Maxwell Lord towards the finale part of the show. So I'm very mixed. I think some of the comedy worked in this episode. Some of it felt very flat to me. I'm here for Chris's arc, but the other side characters from last season, who I all love, like I love Danielle Brooks. I think she's probably the strongest actress in the show. She's excellent. I think Freddie Stroma stole the show in season one. Just wanted a lot more of him in this episode. Jennifer Holland and Steve Agee are great. These are great side characters that had such a lot to do in season one. And where they're hinting at where they're going with those characters just isn't interesting so far. Again, it's one episode, and I know so many people when they do these type of reviews, audience out there, you want to give a final decision on a show. But again, as I've talked about with when I cover other shows, this is 8 episodes. So I never have a final opinion on a show until I see all 8 episodes. Sometimes these arcs aren't interesting to me right now. They could be as the season goes on. But so far, I found myself mixed, slightly positive. I would give it a fresh review, but this is not an episode that I was like, wow, we're really back to where we started Peacemaker season one. It just didn't hit those levels for me. So what are your thoughts, guys, on season two, episode one of Peacemaker? Sorry, this review came late. Usually I'll have these videos out Friday or Saturday at the latest, because it does come out 9 p.m. Eastern every Thursday on HBO Max. So stay tuned. But that's my thoughts, guys, on Peacemaker. Let me know down in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.